It's really interesting the conservative framing of some questions and answers that's been happening in the recent debates. What's that? They're democratic debates? With supposed progressives? Well, that's less interesting and more... Now this is gonna be layers on layers on layers. Because not only do some candidates, some questioners talk about questions in a conservative kind of framing, but there's also the framing of the debates of conservatives when they report on the debates. Neat. And of course, by conservatives, I don't watch a lot of like ABC and NBC News, so there's definitely a lot of that going on, but also, you know, the crypto fascists on the internet. So there was this point in the first debate, apparently. I didn't remember it as a particularly memorable time, but people seem to have a problem with Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All plan. Namely, that it wasn't racist enough. If you're just now thinking about this side of framing, I'm going to have like several examples of it so you can kind of figure it out, but Peter Kaufman also has a very important documentary on framing and framework and how it goes. There will be a link down below, unless I forget because I'm a bad YouTuber. To be clear, it's not a problem that Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All plan isn't racist enough. Like, it's not a problem. But they didn't full out say, is your plan racist enough? They framed it a certain way so that the question could be racist, and the racisms were implied. So the racist source has a problem that when people come into our country, the hospitals won't be able to discriminate against other people that come into our country. They said it like this: anyone can just come in the country and have healthcare and taxpayers will pay for it. So this is racist, right? The trick to how they built this frame is they put out something and they make it seem expensive. They have several layers of disconnect between what has been said by the person and what is implied by the person. I believe that's something about fair what's that? That's something about faith? Some kind of faith. Faith that ain't good. It's something like that. And it implies several assumptions on the audience that it assumes they'll make. One, that healthcare will always be expensive. Right? It builds it up. You're paying for this healthcare. It's you paying for this entire bill. You're just one person. You can't pay for $1 million worth of healthcare, is what the framing wants you to think. One of the classic use of this, I don't know how classic, because, oh man, I would die. I don't want to go into this kind of darkness to see who used it first. But a classic framing is that you shouldn't be paying for your neighbor's mortgage, or you don't want to pay for your neighbor's mortgage. Do you want to pay for your neighbor's mortgage? Question mark. Implied emphasis? Seriousness? Republicans going, no, I don't want to pay someone else's mortgages. Mortgages are like thousands of dollars. And the hope is that the crowd is familiar with mortgages being expensive and not familiar with what their taxes are at that moment. It builds off that outrage instead of really connecting that you don't pay a lot in taxes and we are able to pay off someone's mortgage with your little bit of taxes. It's kind of like they're giving you a swirly. And the idea of mortgage payments is the toilet. And the Republicans are holding your face in that toilet. So all you're thinking about is how expensive that mortgage is. And they're not thinking about what their tax is, which is a slice of their paycheck that doesn't even get recorded and they do not see. $8 a week. $20 a week, half of which the employer pays and doesn't even appear on your paycheck. They don't want you to think about that. They want you to think about how expensive mortgages are. And they super don't want you to think about how of that section of your paycheck that you pay, how it is less than $1 that goes to paying off and helping people with their mortgages. It's less than $1 that goes to housing. It's a fraction of a percent that program gets from your taxes. They don't want you to think about that. They want you to think about the toilet they're trying to stick your head in, you nerd. They don't want you to think about what a long way the money you pay in your taxes goes when it's used by the government, because the government has a way of spending money where things last longer, and they have programs and they have laws for controls over how much they buy things, because the government is a big buyer, and when you're a big buyer, you have power to say how much you want to spend. This is also compounded because the average American isn't paid enough money. I'm just gonna throw this out there. Most people are not paid enough money, and it's very likely that that fraction of a percent that you would pay in your taxes to go to mortgages would not make you rich. I'm gonna say that if you had all of the taxes that they take out of your paycheck, you still wouldn't be rich. It's true. Otherwise, you'd just be, rich in a week or so instead of not rich at all. Or instead of your current average self. Are you almost rich? Oh man, if only you didn't pay taxes, then you could be rich. No, likely you're either rich and complaining about how much taxes you pay because you're already rich, or you have no idea what this concept really is. But conservatives blame this on taxes. If we didn't take taxes from people, you would be rich. The conservatives say you wouldn't. You don't, that's not how it works. $2 more a week does not a rich person make. $10, $20, $40 a week does not a rich person make. And I put it that high because I know no one watching this pays $40 in taxes a week. So I'm going high with that even wouldn't make you rich. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for playing. So the conservative also says it that way because they don't want to say, hey, do you want your neighbor to be homeless so you can have $1 more a week? Man, if you had $1 more a week, your neighbor would be homeless. Fuck that guy. Or fuck you. Because you might be homeless if you benefit from those programs too. Or any other number of programs that your taxes goes into. Because the Republican, the conservative, is not looking out for your wallet. He's looking out for the rich person's wallet. And taxes don't make rich people poor. Taxes keep rich people from getting richer faster. And what those conservatives want is their rich donors to get richer faster instead of letting people have homes and not be homeless. No one in the conservative crowd would cheer on to their neighbor being homeless because they know their neighbor. No one in that crowd would cheer to themselves being homeless, but they would cheer to not paying their neighbor's mortgage. And that's why they frame it in that deceptive, terrible, awful way. For that deceptive, terrible, awful plan. For that goal of making sure that rich person gets richer faster instead of richer less fast. Which is really all we're talking about when we talk about taxes. Rich people want to get richer faster. Higher taxes mean the rich people don't get rich as fast. It has nothing to do with the middle or lower classes. Any cut in taxes is to help richer faster. We could solve all of our domestic issues if we didn't have to focus on making sure richer people got richer faster and instead let them not get rich faster. Took that money and fixed roads and cars, and when factories closed down, we could build other factories. We can build other jobs. We could support schools. We could make sure people weren't homeless. We could pay mortgages, and all it would take is the rich people still getting richer, but slower. But that's not good enough for the rich people. As long as those rich people exist, they're gonna fight to get richer faster, and not slower. So they're gonna let this deceptive framing be out. And those rich people have a lot of money to spend on getting richer. And they spend that money on Republicans and Democrats. And also weird crypto fascists because, blaming racism. So let's get back to our debate framing. And you'll notice all these same rich people, richer, fraction of your paycheck goes to paying for this. Mostly it makes the rich people get richer slower thing through your taxes. That applies to the first thing I said, to Medicare for all, or making healthcare universal, single payer, whatever you want to call it. Bernie Sanders is the only good one with the plan, and all the other plans, no matter what they call it, are bad and worse. They are implying that same wealth disparity aspect in the framing of anyone can use this healthcare, but they also have a nice layer of racist over the top of it. So, who do you think they're talking about when they say anyone should just come into America and get healthcare? Are they talking about people from Taiwan who, like, might take a $500 flight and come to America and then get their appendix removed? Would they? Are they talking about them? Are they talking about people in Canada? Just a short drive and then BAM! It's all the American healthcare. The Americans can pay for it. But wait, those two countries have versions of universal healthcare, don't they? They don't need to come to America for it. And actually, so does Mexico. In fact, people go to Mexico for cheaper dental care. Americans cross the border into Mexico for dental care. Woo! So now you're like, oh Ray, you just canceled everyone around America, so no one would come in for our thing. Well, who are they talking about? Well, they're talking about a racist idea of what would go in, and it's a dog whistle to racists. And not even a dog whistle, because the best/worst part of having Trump as president is all of the racist things are obvious now. They're talking about no one, but they're talking about the no one that racists think started all the problems. They don't want you to think about it though. They want you to think of like a burglar slowly creeping into your house. They found an open window, and look at this, the water is on. Free healthcare for this burglar that is snuck in. Ooh. But it's not real, cause it's racist, and it's wrong, and it doesn't exist, and oh my god, I want to die. It's not just racist. It's the kind of racist that people don't want to call out in polite company. Like, you could say that. You could say it to someone in a conversation. Anyone could come and use the healthcare and not think about how fucking racist that is. Wait, Tom, I know we're enjoying these nice franks on this warm summer day, but I think you just said a racist. Anyone can come and use the healthcare? But that's like not how we talk in polite company when someone says a racist. In polite company, we're like, oh, that sounds fear-mongering. Like, you don't even want to call your friends dumb for repeating dumb racist shit. But there it is. Dumb racist shit. Why does this dumb racist shit exist? Why are they driven with this fear? So that no one can get healthcare. So that the healthcare can stay for profit the way it is. So that people don't elect Bernie. Instead of, oh, Bernie has some problems. Just saying these weird, baseless, racist things so that people in the election don't vote for the person who wants to make sure people are taken care of, but they do vote for the person who will be racist and let the rich people get richer faster. Oh my god, this is what it's all in service to, so that you don't get healthcare, so that your healthcare can deny you on pre-existing conditions. Or your healthcare can deny you for any reason it wants, because it makes it up, because we have no regulations. They don't want any regulations on these people who make sure we don't die. So you don't get to pay for things, and you do get to go to extreme debt. Oh my god. Oh my god. I want to die, and the Republicans are helping me. But I want to die because of the things the Republicans say. So it's a cycle of the Republicans making everything worse, and the Democrats going along with it, or the centrists, or whoever the hell said it. And that's the shittiest part to the tag team that happened at the first debate, and at the second debate, where everyone's like, oh, but Bernie, won't your plan hurt the insurance industry? We are going to die on this hill so that people don't get healthcare, so that rich people in the insurance industry can get richer faster. Bernie, why would you stop these rich people from getting richer faster? To give people healthcare, Bernie says. And they're like, Bernie, why? I don't understand. my clan is also called single payer, but it's not actually single payer, and it's not gonna give people health care because Cory Booker sucks. Everyone sucks, except for Bernie Sanders. Even Warren's plan is a half measure to keep insurance companies existing. We don't need them. We don't need them. It's just people getting rich. We could save money by not having insurance companies. And oh no, those jobs are gone. Oh, there's a jobs guarantee built into the fucking bill. There's a jobs guarantee in the bill that will help people keep their jobs and have more jobs and replace their jobs. And you don't want to say yes because it's comprehensive and would make it so that rich people don't get richer faster. That's why you're fighting it. Oh my god, I want to die, I want to kill, I'm the worst. Why all the Republicans want Bernie Sanders to drop out or want Bernie Sanders to fight with Warren. It's like, oh, we don't understand why your plans are better than Warren's. But because they are. Because they, oh my god, I want to die. I just want to strangle every ABC host that doesn't want to edit. People are dying because they don't have the money to see the doctor. And people are going into debt because they saw the doctor. And we're very hung up on making sure insurance companies exist even though they let people die for not seeing the doctor, and they let people go in extreme debt to them and the hospitals for not having good enough insurance and being denied coverage and having insufficient coverage. And the insurance company are fined because they're getting rich while these people go into debt. These people that are your neighbor, these people that could be helped if there was $1 out of your paycheck every month and we let universal health care exist. But no, we want the rich people to get richer faster instead of taxing those motherfuckers. It's fucking worth it. It's worth the tax. You don't get taxed much. You don't. And even if you weren't taxed, you wouldn't be rich. And the people that make fortunes off their taxes, who are taxed fortunes, already have fortunes and are in fact getting richer currently all the time. When companies fail, they get richer and they get bonuses. When companies make a deal, they get bonuses. That's why companies are so damn expensive and worst, because they're always giving their CEOs bonuses and their owners are always getting richer all the time, even for failing. Donald Trump has talked all the time about how he's a good businessman because his failures made him money. It's the system. The system makes these millionaire failures money. Everyone with money constantly makes more money because that's what we've set it up. Meanwhile, everyone who's poor gets to go into debt if they try to get their arm broken. If they try to get their arm fixed, they go into debt. If they don't see the doctor, they die because they were poor. And that's America. This is our country. If you're poor, you deserve to die. And if you're a rich failure, you deserve to get richer faster because we're not going to tax you anyway, you giant failure. So the context of the quote that started me off on this magical video was a question with a friend on the perspective of the Democratic debate. And that's what they thought was most important, that Bernie Sanders' plan wasn't racist enough. Bernie Sanders' plan includes anyone who goes to the hospital, and you'll be able to not die and not go into debt with Bernie Sanders' plan. And no other candidate has a plan that will do that. The meta of the Democratic debate is what's our definition of Medicare for all and universal health care. And every other candidate has a definition that is shit and that will help rich people get richer faster. The exception is Warren, who might not necessarily help rich people get richer faster as much as the rest, but it will. And she's gonna take general campaign, big donor money from rich people so that rich people can pay her so they can continue to get richer faster. That's the deal. And Bernie Sanders is the only good candidate. And that's why CNN and NBC will only mention his name if they have a negative story. That's the current meta of the Democrats. So if you haven't heard it here, I'll just go over a couple examples. So in this recent Democratic debate on ABC, the ABC guests introduced everyone by name, and then there was a little preamble by like 6 million ABC hosts. And they all talked about Biden because he's first, and they talked about Warden because she's third and not Bernie Sanders. And then they mentioned literally every other candidate's name they could, and they did not mention Bernie Sanders. And then the debate started, and they hadn't mentioned his name in any way. They're like, oh, we're excited for Warden. Oh, look out! Biden might be in trouble. Biden better try hard. Better not gaffe because he's an old man with worms for brains and who's rapidly deteriorating in front of our eyes. He might be in trouble. There's no one else to talk about. There's no second place. Of course, now some polls say Warren's in first place, which is nice. But she still has not good plans. Not compared to Bernie. And she's still gonna fall for this Republican framing. And that's what the Democrats have been up to. And also the people who aren't the Democrats. And also the people who are the crypto-fascists. If they deem to mention the Democratic debate at all, they make sure to do it in a racist way. So, God, read something nice. Maybe read something I wrote. It's on my Patreon. I write nice things sometimes. No, I don't. No, I don't. I'm the worst. I'm the dollar. No. We're not ending it there. We're not gonna end it there. For every dark side, there's a light side. Hear me out, bro. I know I just did the whole framing unmasked thing, like, oh, bam, here's a racist. But framing works both ways. Framing also works with how you take something and approach it as a problem. You don't have to do like I did and be like, oh, why did they ask that racist thing? So man, if someone throws something at you about like, Warren is winning, or Bernie Sanders' plan would pay for everyone, you can ask them a few questions. Have your friend reframe it for you or for themselves. I'm really bothered by the cookie. And it's not a fight fire with fire kind of thing. You are not trying to counter their lies with lies, but you're just kind of having conversation to get the truth. You could mention every other developed nation has some sort of universal health care. Other people in other nations don't have this problem where people go into debt in order to get medical service. Dental work, medical care, pills are cheaper in Canada and in Mexico. And even if it was, universal healthcare is big. It is a big, powerful thing. It is not you individually paying for things. It is us paying for a thing that we need. And when everyone pays for something, that something gets cheaper. That something is more affordable. That something is not going to break your back. That's going to be a few cents on you. And at most, it's going to make a rich person get richer slightly slower. That's every tax. That happens. As bad as it gets, that's what it is. That's the worst. Be like, I wonder why the news network can't tell the difference between Bernie's plan and everyone else's plan, when his plan would make sure people are taken care of, but might make it so that rich people get richer slower. And everyone else's plan would keep the system as it is so that rich people get richer faster. And I wonder why that is, with all the current Medicaid, all the health insurance companies that pay for ads on news networks and own news networks, and all the billionaires that have these newspapers that put out news. I wonder if that affects it. And I wonder if the only person who has an answer to that is being ignored by those news companies, except to say something negative. And I wonder why so many just average Democrats only repeat what they hear on CNN and share these news stories that are negative on Bernie. I wonder why they're so mad. People don't know why they don't like Bernie Sanders. Hey, if you want to make me less sad, hit the like button, leave a nice comment down below. Maybe argue with someone that's doing a not a nice comment. Check out Peter Kaufman's video on framing. I think he's a bit more positive. He's a more positive person. I'm also going to put a link to Guchin, because Guchin recently did a video on Tim Pool. And I'm not saying that that's where this quote came from, because I do not know, but I'm assuming, so it's relevant. There's a link to Guchin talking about Tim Pool. By the way, Guchin, I love you. Good stuff. You make videos so fast. I am very jealous. Seriously, give me a like, give me a comment, subscribe. Thanks. I love you.